everybody! I'm Rebecca here at Y Mermaids, and I'm back from New York. I spent 4 days in New York last week with my students on a field trip. I'll have some footage of that coming up soon on my channel, probably in my March Document Your Life video, which I'm working on, and I'm very excited about it. It's my very first one, so look out for that in the next couple weeks, and you'll get to see some fun footage. We did a lot of amazing, awesome things, most of which I actually didn't get footage for, because it's awkward when you're filming with students around you, because they're like, they make fun of you. And I don't really care, but, it's a little awkward. So, I didn't film as much as I wanted to, plus places like the, Late Night with Seth Meyers, I can't take a camera, but I went and I saw Lena Dunham, and it was really cool. I was also on the Today Show, woo! We did a lot of other really cool, touristy things. It snowed while we were there, and I'm so sick of snow. But it's kind of cool that it snowed in New York while we were in New York, even though it was the first day of spring, and it snowed. But anyway, I will look out for that footage coming up soon, and let's get on with today's video. Today's video is my March book haul. I kind of went overboard this month a little bit. I got 14 books, but there's a very specific reason why the number is so high, and it's because I bought series, and if you watched my last Top 5 Wednesday, I talked about how I buy the first book in a series, and then if I read it and I love it, I then go buy all the other ones. That happened this month. Not once, but twice. So that's why my book haul is pretty large, but let's just get rolling with it. I'm not going to talk about each one too long, because again, there are 14 books. 14! Whew. Whew. Alright, the first book I got this month, I actually ordered it in February, but it just got here the first week of March because shipping took forever. And this book is Tuck by Stephen Lawhead. It's book 3 in the King Raven trilogy. I read this trilogy a couple years ago when I was into my really ginormous Robin Hood kick after watching the BBC's Robin Hood and trying to work there. So I've already read this book, but I didn't own it, and I owned Hood and Scarlet, which are the first 2 books, and so I didn't have Tuck, and I felt like I really, really wanted it, and I've been putting it off for years on buying it, so I finally took the plunge and filled out the series, so that I would have all 3, and that's this first one here, is Tuck. The second book I got this month was recommended to me by Morgan over at Little Word Weaver. She talks about it in all her videos, and I was like, I feel like I have to read this book, and that is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, and she recommended it to me and to everybody, and I just really, really, really want to read it based on what she said about it in her videos, so I went ahead and picked this one up as well. The next book I got, I have seen all over BookTube, and it just, the cover just looks so pretty, and just the description of it just is right up my alley, and I have been waiting for this one, and I was I finally just had to go and just buy it because I couldn't find it. I missed it on Book Outlet when they were selling it. I just missed it, and so I was so upset, and I didn't want to wait anymore. So I went ahead and got Falling Kingdoms by Morgan Rhodes, the first book in the Falling Kingdom series, and I'm so excited to read this one. I took it with me to New York as in case I finished the book I was reading, which is The Raven Boys. If I finished Raven Boys, I was going to read this one, but I didn't finish Raven Boys because I was on a field trip and it was really busy and there was -0 free time. Not that 0 can be negative, so -5 free time? That doesn't make sense either. Just, there was no free time, so I didn't read it. So I didn't get to this one, but this is up next on my TBR because I'm so excited to read it. The next book I picked up because of Samantha over at Thoughts on Tomes, and that is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, the first book in the Grisha trilogy. Is that right? The Grisha trilogy? Is it 3? Yeah, it's the Grisha trilogy. So she always talks about this. This is her favorite series right now, and so I really wanted to jump on that one as well and see what it was all about. So that is Shadow and Bone, and again, I'm excited to read this one as well. If you saw my book haul from last month, I talked about how I got Cinder and how I wanted it to blow my mind because everybody talked about it. And while I've read it, I read it at the beginning of the month, and I'll talk about my thoughts next week, probably in my wrap-up. I liked it enough. I went ahead and bought Scarlet and Cress by Marissa Meyer, the next 2 books in the Lunar Chronicles. I have not gotten Scarlet yet because I have all paperbacks, and so I kind of want to make all of them match. So I'm going to wait for that to come out on paperback before I pick that one up as well. But I will do it eventually, once I get through these. While I was out buying those books, I also picked up City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, which I never read, and I was reading for the Mortal Read-Along, and so I read this for I did the readathon, I did Bookorama, and so I talked about this one already in that, about what I read, when I thought about it, and why I read it. But anyway, I bought City of Bones, and despite all the controversy around Cassandra Clare and the fact with the Harry Potter fanfiction, like, stealing thing, I still really enjoyed it in a lot of ways. So I also may have bought the next 4 in the series. Again, the 6th one is out, but it's only in hardcover and paperback. I want it to match. So I did get City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, and City of Lost Souls, also by Cassandra Clare. I'm so sorry, Harry Potter fans. While I was on my book recommendation buying spree, I also picked up Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, or Moss. I'm sorry. I've also picked up Throne of Glass because everyone has been raving about it, and it sounds really interesting and really fun, and again, it's another one that I'm excited to read. Whew. Alright, so if you have been watching my channel, then you know I am doing my Year of Gaiman, where I'm reading all of Neil Gaiman's novels throughout the course of the year. So my April, I had to figure out what month we were in right now. The next book that I'm reading for April, I am reading Interworld, which is by, again, Neil Gaiman and Michael Reeves. This is a collaboration book, and I just thought this cover, like, oh, it's so pretty. It's such a pretty cover, and I'm so excited. So I'm reading this one for April. I'm reading the next book it's a trilogy. I'm reading the next book in May, and then the final book, which is The Silver Dream. And then the final book comes out in May, so I'll be reading that in June. Again, for my Year of Gaiman. So of course I had to get Interworld because I'm reading it next month. And finally, if you watched my last month book haul, you saw me talk about Stardust and how I couldn't find the version I really, really wanted. Well, while I was in New York, I found it! I found it! I found it! I was so excited! I was so excited! I was in book culture over by Columbia University, which is where we went to a conference while we were in New York, which is the reason for us going to New York, was for the conference. I went into this bookstore, Book Culture, and I found it! I found it! I'm so excited! So it matches my copy of Neverwhere, and I'm going to get all the other books that are in this, like, little format. I'm gonna make them all match, and it's gonna look so pretty on my shelf by the end of the year when I have them all. So I'm very excited that I finally found my purple Stardust. Wow. So as you can see, I did buy a lot of YA this month, and I'm not someone who tends to read like only one genre. I like to read a lot of adult fiction and adult sci-fi and fantasy, but this month I went a lot here on YA. I'm trying to catch up because BookTube, you guys just make me like want to go and read all these books and these series I feel like I've missed out on. So this is my like catching up on YA book haul that's what it's going to be called. My catching up on YA book haul, because that's what a lot of this is, and I'm very excited about it. I love YA. That's what I got this month. I bought more than I thought I would, but yet my cart on Book Outlet is another like 11 books long. So there might be a part 2 to this, but I'm hoping not, because I'm trying to not spend money, because I just spent money, right? That's a lot. That's a lot of books in 1 month to buy. But I did it anyway because I love books. I love books! Let me know which ones of these are your favorites so that I know which ones to look the most forward to reading, but I will be reading all of them in the next few upcoming months, hopefully. so we can get through them, because I'm very excited about all of them. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, let me know what I should be looking forward to read, and that's it for me. Back from New York, and I'll see you next time. Mwah! Are we ready to go? I think we are. Bleh. 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 That's right, Azula. Bleh.